All right, let's talk about one of the biggest challenges out there right now, cyber attacks that are powered by AI. And here's the bottom line, the thing we really need to get our heads around. Defending against these incredibly smart threats, well, it's not about one magic piece of software or some lone genius in a dark room. It's about a whole team, a whole crew of specialists working together. Let's get into it. So let's start with a really simple but kind of scary question. We're not just dealing with the same old predictable computer viruses anymore. We're now in an age where an attack can actually learn, it can adapt, and it can tailor its assault on the fly. And no, this isn't some sci-fi movie plot. This is the new reality that cybersecurity pros are up against every single day. And what's so wild is that AI is a total double-edged sword here. On one side, you've got the attackers. For them, AI means way more sophisticated, automated attacks that can slip past defenses and cook up phishing emails that are scarily convincing. But on the other side, you've got the defenders, and for them, AI gives them these incredible tools for analyzing data in real time, automating a response, and even predicting where an attack might hit next. This right here, this is the new battlefield. So how do you even begin to fight back against that? Well, you can't just run around putting out fires. You need a plan. It has to start with a strategy. And that's where the first part of our team comes in. These are the architects, the high-level thinkers who are drawing up the battle plans. Leading the charge is the Chief Information Security Officer, or CISO. Just think of the CISO as the general of the army. They aren't just focused on today's fight. They're looking at the entire map, figuring out the specific risks that AI brings to the table, writing the rules of engagement with new security policies, and making sure the entire organization from top to bottom is ready for this new kind of war. Now, the CISO doesn't work in a vacuum. They team up with the Chief Risk Officer, who brings cold, hard data to the strategy. They don't just see a vague cloud of threats, they quantify them. They'll look at an AI-driven phishing attack and say, okay, the probability of this is high, but the impact might be medium. Then they'll look at AI-powered malware and say, that's less likely, but if it hits, the impact is huge. This helps the team focus their money and energy where it truly matters. And to round out this strategy group, you have the rule keeper, the compliance officer. Their job is to make sure the entire defense strategy is built on solid legal footing. They're the ones who ensure every single security measure, every bit of data that's handled, follows all the complex rules like GDPR and HIPAA. This protects the company not just from hackers, but from some really serious legal and financial trouble. Okay, so the battle plan is drawn up. Now it's time to actually build the fortress. And we're not talking about just buying a bunch of security software off the shelf. We're talking about engineering security into the very foundation of the company's technology. So let's meet the builders. You know, the first line of defense isn't a firewall. It's the code itself. Application developers are right there on the front lines, and their mission is to write software that's secure by design. That means doing things like validating inputs to block malicious code, and, most importantly, weaving security into every single step of the development process. It's about shutting the door on vulnerabilities before a product ever even sees the light of day. So if the applications are the walls of the fortress, what about the treasure inside? Well, that's the data, and protecting it is the job of the database administrator, or DBA. You can think of them as the guardians of the crown jewels. They use powerful tools like encryption and super strict access controls to make sure that even if a wall gets breached, the company's most valuable assets stay locked down tight. You know, all this represents a huge shift in how we think about cybersecurity. Instead of just bolting security on at the very end of a project, the DevSecOps approach weaves it into the entire process. It's a philosophy called shifting left. From the very first line of code to modeling threats to automated testing, security becomes part of the project's DNA, not just an afterthought. And since so much of our digital world lives in the cloud now, the cloud architect's role has become absolutely essential. They're the ones who design the company's entire cloud infrastructure, and they do it with security as the actual blueprint. Using things like network segmentation and encryption, they create a fundamentally secure structure for everyone else to work in. So the fortress is built, and it's secure. But even the strongest fortress needs guards, right? So now let's meet the sentinels, the folks who are actively defending, constantly monitoring, hunting, and testing our defenses out on the digital front lines. Imagine the network administrator as the guard on the castle wall. They are always on watch, constantly monitoring the flow of traffic coming in and out of the network. They're the ones maintaining the firewalls and the intrusion detection systems, always on the lookout for any weird activity or anomaly that could be the first sign of an attack. But these days, defense isn't just about sitting around and waiting for an alarm to go off. No way. This brings us to a concept called threat hunting. This is where you proactively go searching for threats that might have already slipped past your first line of defense. The whole point is to find the enemy that's already hiding inside your walls before they have a chance to strike. And that is the exact mission of the cybersecurity analyst. These are the threat hunters, the real detectives of the digital world. They're the ones proactively looking for hidden adversaries, studying how new AI attacks work, and connecting little bits of data and clues to uncover a threat that pretty much anyone else would have missed completely. So how do you know if all these defenses you've built will actually work against a smart attacker? Well, you hire a smart attacker to try and break them. That's the vital role of the ethical hacker. They literally think like the enemy, using the exact same tools and techniques to attack their own company's systems. Why? To find the weak spots so the team can fix them before a real bad guy does. Okay, so all these layers of defense, they're powerful. But in cybersecurity, you always have to plan for the worst. No defense is perfect. No wall is truly unbreakable. So, what happens when one of those sophisticated AI-powered attacks actually makes it through? The moment a real breach is confirmed, the alarm bells start ringing. And when that happens, an entirely different set of protocols kicks in, and a whole new team of experts is activated. This isn't about defense anymore. It's about response, containment, and recovery. This is the collaborative response team. As soon as that alarm goes off, one of the first people on the scene is the forensics investigator. They are, for all intents and purposes, the digital CSI. They have to carefully collect and analyze all the evidence, system logs, network traffic, bits of malware. Their job is to piece together a perfect timeline of what happened, how the attackers got in, and what they did. And that is absolutely critical for stopping the attack and preventing the next one. Now, while all that investigation is happening, the business can't just grind to a halt. And this is where the business continuity planner's work really pays off. Long before the attack, they've already created a detailed plan to make sure the organization can survive something like this. The plan covers everything from restoring data from backups to keeping the essential parts of the business up and running, all to minimize the damage and the downtime. You know, with all this talk about AI and automation and all this advanced technology, it is so easy to forget one critical thing, that a company's security, when it really comes down to it, depends on its people. Every single employee is part of that system, and they can either be a vulnerability or a crucial part of the defense. And that is exactly why the security awareness trainer might just be one of the most important people on this entire team. They are responsible for building a company-wide culture of security. Through training and running attack simulations, they empower every single employee to spot threats like AI phishing, turning them from a potential target into a human firewall, an active, aware, and absolutely essential part of the defense. Which brings us right back to our final question, and really the core message of this whole explainer. After seeing all of these specialized roles, from the strategists to the builders, the guards to the responders, is protecting against these new threats a problem we can solve with better technology? Or is it a problem we solve with better teamwork? As we've seen, it's not an either-or. The answer, without a doubt, is both. You absolutely need the best tools, but those tools are pretty much useless without a skilled, collaborative team of people standing behind them.